guys, and welcome to my channel. If you're new, I'm delighted to have you here, and if you're returning, welcome back. Today I'm wanting to try a technique that I saw recently, and I'm kind of sad that I didn't get to it sooner. So this was an idea that I saw demonstrated by Gayle A. I had put the video in my watch later list, and it's been a few months, and now I wish I had watched it when I had actually put it in there, because it's very simple to do, although I'm still working out the kinks in this technique. It's an ancient Japanese way of transforming paper, breaking down the fibers in certain papers and then simultaneously strengthening them. So if you want to go look it up, I'm going to flash the word right here on the screen. And I've heard it called Momagami, but then I saw in the comments on one of the videos that it's Momagami, I believe. Anyway, we're going to try that today because I have a journal that I've been commissioned to make. And I think that if I can make this work, it's going to be a really interesting technique in the journal. It's going to just add a really nice special element to it. So the original Japanese form of transforming this paper, they take a fibrous paper like a mulberry paper or something with a lot of fibers in it, and then they have a certain kind of starch that they use, and it just breaks everything down, and then they essentially knead the paper like you would dough and keep working it until all the starch gets transformed, worked into the paper, and the paper is completely transformed. Well, Gayle, on her video, had just learned this technique from someone else, and her magic ingredient, instead of using starch, is hand lotion. So I have been playing around trying to do this and trying to see if I can get this to work. Now I just did these, so they're still wet, and I have not dried them yet. But I definitely need to work out the kinks and figure out what kind of lotion works best. So these are still wet. I'm going to have to go set them aside to dry, but these are kind of my experiment pieces. And as you can see, I am getting rips in my paper on these two. And then on this one, this is just a map from like a little address date book, and it did rip. So clearly I am being too rough with my papers. Now, I would say the consistency of your lotion does make a difference, because the first ones I tried, I went through and was like finding little sample lotions in my stash, and these three are pretty watery, have kind of a high water content. And so the very first one I tried, look, when I started to unroll it the first time, it just fell apart on me. So I think a thicker lotion is better. I'm gonna throw that in the trash. And so then I transitioned onto my Dove that's fairly inexpensive. Gayle was using a cheap lotion from the Dollar Tree. But I have a few other things here that I think might be interesting to try that might actually work better. And one of them is, I have a little bit of this left. This is a lotion my daughter passed on to me because it wasn't working for her skin. And I thought maybe this sunscreen that's expired might work as well. So this piece of paper here did turn out okay. And there are no rips in it, and I was being very careful. So this is just your basic scrapbook paper out of a basic scrapbook paper pad, as well as this one. This one ripped in half as soon as I started to roll it up. However, I had already creased this paper for another project, and so I think because it was already weak right there, it just split with the moisture from the lotion. I'm going to go set these aside. I've set up my drying rack from my laundry room down here. I'm going to set these aside to dry, and we're going to experiment with a few more kinds of paper and see what we think works best. So here are a few of the examples I thought we would try. And this is the one I definitely want to put in that journal, and probably some of this brown paper. This is the one that comes in your Amazon packaging, and so I think those two might be good. And then I also really wanted to try like an Edith Holden page because it's thicker. And then I have this calendar page that I want to include in this journal. So I'm going to see if I can make that work as well. And then we'll see how much time we have, because I have all kinds of things I wanted to play around with. But let me tell you, it's been a day. So I haven't really had a lot of time to play or to do this video when I wanted to. One of my ideas was maybe with wallpaper. So we'll see. And then I have a thicker cardstock. Both of these are thicker, and also things that I wanted to include in that journal. So we'll see if we get that far. Those two will require a little more processing with my hands. So let's start first with the green one. And since I have already tried the basic Dove body cream on my last page, I think I would like to see if there's any difference between this and the sunscreen. Because it is expired, I am going to give it just a little shake just to make sure that it hasn't separated, because that was the issue with these more watery ones that I tried, was that they had separated. And it seemed to me that the lotion that Gayle was using was a little thicker. Hopefully this isn't shaking the camera too badly. But all she did was to take the lotion and kind of work it into the paper. And even though I watched the video yesterday, I can't remember if she did one side or two sides, but while I've been sitting here playing with it, it seems like the more that I have that I'm smearing all over it, the more likely it is to tear. So it could just be how the lotion is, or it could just be me not being careful enough. I don't know. As you can see, it's kind of starting to pull the moisture through already. And then you just start wrinkling it up. And she just kind of wrinkled hers into a ball, but the other people I've watched more recently rolled it. And then a lot of them rolled it first and then did the scrunching and added the lotion, but Gayle just put on her lotion and then scrunched it into a ball. And then you unroll it, because it should be leaving little wrinkles. And then you go at it again, only from a different direction. And she did this 2 or 3 times and eventually got the texture that she wanted. So, see, this one's already doing better, and I really think it's because this lotion is thicker. Plus it now smells like a swimming pool, so it smells like summertime. Yeah, so I was really hoping that I can get this, get this kind of, get this technique down, because it is something that I wanted to add to that journal. I think it'd be really fun, but see, now I've already got holes. So I don't know what I'm doing wrong, because nobody else has had this problem. Am I just scrunching it wrong? Am I putting on too much lotion? I don't know. I can still use it for pockets and tags. I still think that would be kind of cool. But she scrunched hers about 3 times. And just kind of, she just literally wadded hers up. But I feel like I just keep getting rips. So I don't know what I'm doing wrong. If you guys know, if you've tried this, let me know in the comments, because I'd like to know why mine is tearing, She made it look so easy. And I don't really know what the final product is supposed to feel like. It does feel like it's changing a little bit, but it still feels like paper. And eventually it's supposed to feel like cloth. So I will link Gayle's video down below, so you guys can go check that out. And then she links to the person that she watched do this, and they both had great success just using hand lotion. Now, also from reading comments on those 2 videos, I learned that you can also use hair conditioner for this, which I'm a little sad to have learned that now, and this is why I wish I watched it earlier, because I just threw out some hair conditioner that was not working for me. And I'm going through it very slowly because I don't have to wash my hair every day anymore. So I was like, man, this is going to take me months and months, and my hair is all dried out. So I finally tossed it, and then I watched the video. I was like, well, rats, trash day was 2 days ago. Live and learn. Anyway, you can use lotion. A lot of people use oil, different kinds of oils. But I tried oil once to make vellum, homemade vellum. You put oil on your paper and it makes it more transparent, but it was just so oily I didn't really like it. So I didn't really want to add oil to this paper to make that happen. Okay, so we definitely have holes. That's unfortunate. But I think we've got enough crinkle, and then you can just kind of add a little extra crinkle where you want to. And then I'm going to have to come back later when these are all dry, and we'll have to see if they feel different. Gayle said it took hers a couple days to dry, but she was doing it a few months back, so it could have just been, you know, that the weather was too cold. And my weather is warming up, and it's definitely dry where I live, so it might not take that long. Plus, in this room here, I have a nice sunny spot during the day, so I think if I just set up my drying rack in the sun, it should work. But this still definitely feels like paper and not like cloth. I don't know. I don't know. I just really hope I can get it figured out because I really want this to work. So let's take some more sunscreen. See, and this isn't as watery. It's a little more oily and thick. I don't know how much you really need, but let's try that because see, I didn't even get it all over the paper. She just smeared hers all over, so and she just started scrunching. Easy peasy, theoretically. I'm using it to get some of this lotion off between my fingers. Yeah. Like I said, it has been a day. Let me tell you, we just had a lot of unexpected interruptions, and I really wanted to videotape today because I'm trying to get a little bit ahead. It's always nice to have a little distance between me and the next video that's due, but also because in the coming months I'm going to need to have some extra videos available, so I just wanted to get a little bit ahead, you know, while I'm going to be gone for stuff. And yeah, so first our lawn guy was due, which is normally fine because he's due on Thursdays, but he didn't show up for about 3 hours. He was 3 hours late. And so I was kind of waiting on him before I started filming because now that I'm downstairs, that's just a lot of noise right outside the window. So I waited for him, and then I was like, okay, well, I'm going to grab a bite of lunch. And I came in here, I was getting ready to get started, and the next thing you know, there's somebody at the door. My dog is going ballistic, and ooh, I think this one's fine. Ooh, see, I've got a good result with that, and this is definitely thinner paper, but I feel like it already feels different from the other ones. I like that. I think I'm going to be happy with how this one turns out. Anyway, so my dog's barking her head off, and it turns out there was a guy here to work on our porch roof. We have been having a leak, unexplained, unexpected leak, and so we've had that looked at, and so we had requested, you know, that we get a patch, and but apparently we were on the schedule or something and we didn't know, so he just showed up. He wasn't here super long, but the whole time my dog was barking, so I couldn't film then. And then I want to try this one. Then the house next door, the neighbors that own it have been renting it out, and so it is now an Airbnb, and their son is helping to manage that, and he's the same age as our oldest daughter, so even though they weren't like buddies or anything, they were in the same class in high school, so he dropped by. And so my husband, I didn't hear the doorbell, and my dog was barking, but I just figured she was barking at the guy working on the roof. But anyway, no, this young man stopped by unexpectedly, and apparently he and my husband had a nice chat, but I was in here doing some decoupage. In fact, I was going to show you how that turned out. Now, I think I want to put a little bit on the back side because now this one is thicker. And it's not penetrating the paper as quickly. And of course, being a calendar, it's probably got some kind of coating on the paper. I'm gonna just start by gently scratching. I really like that seam, so I hope I don't screw it up by tearing it up, ripping the paper. So this journal, I was asking her favorite things and stuff, and she likes mountains and the color green and herbs and gardens, and then she's into more like natural healing kind of things and all of that. So I was trying to assemble things that look like her, you know. She's not super froofy, and she's not, I would not say botanical is really the direction I want to go. But I have this calendar that my mom passed on to me, and it has mountains in it. And this particular one just looked really pretty. Looked like everything I wanted, so I really hope this page works for me. This one's probably gonna take a little more scrunching because it is thick. Yeah, so anyway, by the time we got all done with that, all of the interruptions, it was like after 4 o'clock. So I was feeling cranky, because I always get cranky when I don't get to do what I want to do. I'm forced to do a lot of stuff I don't want to do. Very mature, I know, but it just seems like anymore, you know, your time is precious, the days go so quickly, and so it also feels like there's just a lot of unexpected stuff that happens almost daily. And so when I get derailed, I am most displeased, let's say. I don't know, this has a really interesting feeling to it. I think this is more like what I was expecting. Now, I was watching some people, and they had painted their papers, and then they tried this with, what were they using? I think they were using oil, or I don't know what they were using, but not lotion. And apparently it really helped. The stiffness of the paint really combated the whatever it was they were using to soften it up, and so it turned out really cool. Oh wow, look at that. Okay, I think this is the one, besides the brown one I just did, I'm liking this one better. Oh, but it's pulling the ink off. Okay, well, let me go set this one aside. I'm almost afraid to start with the cardstocks. That kind of got all over me. Let me take a second here and I'll show you. Remember in our last video, I was doing these pages and covering them. These are old garden book pages, and so I'd found them in my stash, and I was turning them into pages I can use eventually in ring binder journals. So while I was waiting around on everything today, I did some more. This one I just tried folding it a little bit differently than this one. Instead of cutting off that piece and making an extra pocket, I just folded it back over itself and made a pocket going this way and a pocket going that way. So there's that one, and you can still kind of see the garden book through there, but I just laid some coffee dyed paper on there and added a little ink when it was done. And then I had wanted more color. So this one is just a plain page. There's no pocket on it or anything. So I used up those scraps, which made me feel good. And then this one, I forgot to put the other pocket on there. So I just used, I just have the short pocket, and then I collaged both sides. And then on this one, I did it the same as this one here. It's easier to see where the pockets are because I used whole sheets of paper. Well, this one I collaged. So there is a pocket here, and then on this side there is a pocket here. But then the piece I forgot to use on this page, I just wrapped it around and made like a tuck spot that overlaps the pocket. So when I do actually use it, I will probably have decoration up here that hides some of the collage and decoration on the pocket, and then I'll have things tucked in here and here. So it won't look as busy, but right now you kind of can't tell where the pockets are just because there's so much collage happening. So yeah, that's what I was doing today. And seemed to, you know, pass the time. But I'm really glad. My husband's out of the house right now, and so I'm taking advantage of the peace and quiet to get this video recorded for you. My mat's crooked, and I know when you're looking through the camera, sometimes that's very disorienting when the mat in the background is crooked. At least it is for me. Okay, so this is an Edith Holden book page. This is one of the pages with the index on it. So it's thicker paper, similar to that calendar. So that's why I thought it might be interesting to try. And I will tell you that right now, I feel like the thicker papers are working better than the thinner papers, because they seem to be holding the moisture. And also this lotion is, I think it might be better too, because it's very thick. It's a skin softening. And I was hearing that glycerin, it's got triglyceride. Is that a glycerin? There's glycerin. Fruit oil. Anyway, so those kinds of things that condition the paper better. They'll break it down and condition it. I think those will have a better result, you know. With these kinds of lotions, we'll have a better result on the paper. And I'm feeling like this thicker paper is actually, yeah, see, now this is feeling different. This is feeling a little bit more like, less like paper and more like cloth. Okay, all right, we're getting there, we're getting there. This is why experimentation is good. So I was making sure that I had a few pages that did not matter to me as I started, because you got to play around a bit before you kind of get the process down. All right, well, I'm feeling brave. Let's try one of these cardstocks. And since it is so thick, I'm gonna see if the Dove lotion, how that does on it. And then if that doesn't work, then we'll switch over and add some of this, either the Shea Body Butter or the sunscreen. Because I definitely think thicker lotion is the answer to the problem. Let's see. Now this is kind of like playing with pudding. Remember when you were a little kid and they put pudding down and you could like draw pictures on the counter with it? My mom did that too with shaving cream, and I just thought that was so fun. I didn't do it very often, but it was really fun. And then you just wipe it all up and playtime is over. This is what this reminds me of. Okay, so I'm gonna start, oh, that one's too dry. Nothing on that one, oops. So I would say if you have old lotions in your stash, go for it. And I would say things that even like maybe you have like skin moisturizer or you know, skin products, they probably would do really well. I don't have any that are old or expired, and I don't want my Mary Kay consultant / really good friend to be disturbed by watching me use Mary Kay products on my paper. But if I did, I think you could probably use a good moisturizer or something like that and probably get a really good result, because those kinds of lotions are meant to moisturize your skin and to reinforce, you know, to just build it up and protect it. So I think those might be good products. I was watching a video recently. It's one of the many decluttering and minimalism videos that I've been consuming. And so her whole premise was, here are some things you should not declutter. And one of them was your old like face products or skincare products that you try and don't like. And her point was, don't use them then on your face, because they can be kind of spendy, right? And you don't want to just chuck them in the trash. So instead, use them on other parts of your body. And so she was talking about using it on her hands. I don't know if this needs more lotion or if it needs more crunching. I'm going to go with more crunching. So she had said she was using an old facial face product, some kind of moisturizer or whatever, or something to remove blemishes from your face. But she had started using it on her hands, and her hands were looking better. So, you know, I would think something like that might work really well on paper as well. Okay, I'm definitely having more success with the thicker papers, which is the exact opposite of how I thought this was going to go. Thicker papers, thicker lotion. That's my mantra. And again, if you have hair conditioner that you don't like, you can try that too. Or maybe some sample bottles, like from vacation. Try it. give it a whirl. Why not? I mean, this is really quite easy. Let's see. I have some Mrs. Meyer's hand lotion in the bathroom right here. I should go grab that. I might just go do that. Just like playing with all the lotions. Oh, yeah. Okay. It's like getting the edges, though, seems to be where I'm having the challenge. Okay, let me put this back, or put this over to dry, and then I'm going to go grab the Mrs. Meyer's lotion and see how we do with that. So I'm going to try this one on some music. I do have another piece of cardstock, but this one's peppermint. It's from the holidays, and, you know, well, I actually put it out in like October or something. So obviously we're going through our lotion very slowly. So this is just basic music paper, a sheet or a page from a vocal songbook. And it's already, I can feel it taking the lotion. You can feel it absorbing very quickly. Yeah, so the decluttering is continuing. The reassigning of my spaces is continuing. I finished up now helping my daughter. And since I'm having to record a little bit ahead of my normal recording day, I want to wish all of you a happy Mother's Day. We just had Mother's Day in the US by the time you see this. Now my daughter and I are going to go out on Saturday and have a date, which we haven't had a mommy-daughter date for ages. Because she went off and got married and stuff and got a job and is going to school. So she doesn't have time for her mother. Anyway, yeah, so we're going to go have a mother-daughter date on Saturday. So you won't know till the week following this video how it was, but I'm sure it'll be good. We're going to go see a movie. We're going to go see the Fall Guy movie. Okay, this one still has a little tear in it. Right there. So more watery lotions and thinner papers and my really rough technique, apparently. Those all combine to just rough up the paper more. Okay, now this is also scrapbook paper from a scrapbook pad. I think this was Paper Studio maybe, or maybe the one from Joann's. I think it's Paper Studio. It is thicker than the other two scrapbook papers I tried. So let me try this. It's slightly thicker, not by a lot. So I'm going to try this, and I'm going to try it. Should I use Dove or the sunscreen? Let's try the sunscreen. So the really thick sunscreen, a slightly thicker scrapbook paper, and see if we can keep it from ripping, eh? Yeah, so we're going to go see a movie. We decided we'd go to the early show and then have a late lunch, and then we're gonna go pick up some flowers and drop in on my mom because I didn't really plan anything for Mother's Day per se. I should have, but just kind of snuck up on me. Is that a little peppermint swimming pool scent? Not sure how that's gonna smell at the end of this, but you know. So anyway, we're gonna drop in on her and bring her some flowers, and I don't know, I need some sandals for summer, so we might go shopping, or we might, oh, there was a place she wanted to take me to, so I might go hit that up, although I can't remember what it is. We're gonna have, like I said, late lunch. Yeah, so I'm sure it will be a wonderful day, and then, yeah, we're gonna just hang out and do some stuff, and then she's only got a couple more weeks of the elementary school. Her actual classes for her master's degree, I think, either just ended or are about to end, but then she starts, like, she ends on a Friday and starts the following Wednesday or something with her summer program. So by the time school's actually out, I think she'll already be in her summer program for the master's degree. And then after summer, she's ready for her practicum. So we'll see. Let's see what happens there. Okay, all right. It's ripping on the edge, which might be expected, I guess, but not in the middle yet. Oh, wrong. There's one. So I would say the thicker the lotion, the better off we are, and the thicker the paper. This is my conclusion. Okay, let's try wallpaper. Just a little piece of wallpaper, and since it already has glue on it, do you think we could get away with using a thinner lotion on that? I'm going to try the Mrs. Meyer's peppermint. A little bit thinner. But I'm putting it on the gluey side. Oh, I could end up with like it sticks to itself. I don't know, we'll see. Gotta be adventurous. Gotta try new things. Oh, I'm almost afraid to try because I do think it might stick to itself. And that would be sad, but on the other hand, it's just a scrap of wallpaper. Here we go. Here we go. Because it's plasticky, you know. Wallpaper's kind of got a coating on it on the decorated side, so I don't know that the lotion will sink in. We're just experimenting. I don't do this very often. I'm usually like, I need to know it's going to work before I try it kind of person, but this just looked like so much fun. Kind of is. If you're feeling stressed, man, this is like a stress ball. Just go get your aggressions out. Okay, actually, it's working very nicely. It's not sticking to itself. That's a nice surprise. I think it might need a little more scruncheroo. There we go. Actually, I'm very surprised and pleased with how that one is working. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's not making this tacky at all. Which makes me wonder how good the wallpaper was. Look, I'm just wiping my hands off on it now. Oh wow. That's cool. Gosh, I'm gonna have all kinds of fun little pages. Okay, let's do this one now. You know what? Okay, no. There was something I did want to try. I'm gonna try it with one of these pages from Henry Terry, the Victorian Flower album, and this is a good page to try with because I honestly don't think I would use it in a journal. These creepy snails and that creepy moth are creeping me out. But I was wondering, what about aloe vera? You think that would work? Or is it too wet maybe? We're about to find out. This needs to get used up, so let's find out. It's making icky noises. But this is a nice thick book page, similar to the Edith Holden page. So if this aloe vera lotion is too watery or too thin, it might be okay because this is very thick paper. I was actually going to try it with some hand sanitizer too. Let's see. I don't know. Do you think a hand sanitizer would work? So again, if you've tried this, let me know in the comments what you've tried and what worked and what didn't. And what do you think? Would you ever do it again? I was thinking the other day about when I tried to make handmade paper, faux handmade paper, not the real thing because I don't want to deal with all that mess. But well, that looks kind of cool actually. It's making the pages, making the edges just a little bit raggedy. Actually, I kind of like that. I don't really have to crunch this one up too much for it to have the look. Yeah, I thought I would go back and try the faux handmade paper, but now I'm not sure I ever will. I don't know. And I did actually finally use those pages in a garden journal or two, so mission accomplished, right? And I think that's part of it, you know, when you like to make things, sometimes you just like to play around, but you don't necessarily want to repeat the action all the time. I'm gonna just mop up some more of that. Okay, so the aloe vera gel seemed to work really well, but this is a thick paper. I'm gonna use my paper towel here. This is a thicker paper, so I don't know if it would work on a thinner paper. I've got dictionary page. Oh, I have another fun one too. This is paper I tried dyeing. You know how the people Kool-Aid dye their paper? Well, I had pink lemonade, so I pink lemonade dyed my paper. It's not very pink, and then the sugar just kind of crystallized along the edges, so I didn't really use it, but I'm wondering how that will do. Man, it's gonna smell like a lotion factory exploded in here. Okay, so thinner paper with aloe vera gel. Let's try that. And this is, again, from an old dictionary. I have no idea what to expect, but at the very least, you know, if you wanted to collage with it or cover your tags and pockets with it, I think that would be fine. Sorry, I'm shaking the camera. I apologize. Getting a little carried away, a little rambunctious with my spreading the goop. This is great because honestly, what was I going to do with that little bit of aloe vera gel? It's been sitting up there for quite a long time. Plus it says it's going to soothe and cool my hands. So there you go. Yeah, your hands come out real moisturized after this. If you're having dry skin days, you should definitely try this. Okay, that is definitely changing it. Wow. Ooh, I think I almost like the aloe vera gel better because look, this didn't even rip. So the true test, do I have any more scrapbook paper down there? Ooh, I do. Okay, I'm gonna set this one aside. That one did not even rip, so let's see. Okay, this is a thinner scrapbook paper. This is one from Paper Studio. But I want to use this up first, so can't get too carried away. Okay, I'm going to just leave this upside down. Hopefully it'll all go, all go down to one end. Well, I thought I was going to leave it upside down. Come on. Go. I'll stick it in my glue thingy over there so it can stand up without assistance. Okay. Let's see. A little bit more. I don't want to make poundy noises. I'll pound it into my hand. That should be good, and then that's basically out, so I'll have to rinse it and recycle it later. I need it to get to the edges, though. Seems like it's not getting the edges. Hi, Chloe. Here's my dog checking on us. She says, "Who you talking to, Mom?" Thought I scared away all the peoples today. You did not. They left of their own accord. She always believes it's her, you know. She doesn't understand that the Amazon guy and the UPS and FedEx guys are supposed to go away. All right, here we go. Yeah, you know, I'm having, this just feels better with the aloe vera gel. And you would think that it would be a lot more wet, you know, have more moisture content than the lotion. Uh-oh. Oh. So thin paper, aloe vera gel. Even though the dictionary page didn't rip, this page is ripping. And it is thinner scrapbook paper. So, yeah. I think we're just proving our theory over and over again. I just want to scrunch it a little bit in certain areas to get it more textured. So after these dry, I will have to come back and just we'll see how they all turned out, how they feel. Okay, so this one I'm going to use sunscreen on. This is the, lemonade paper, lemonade dyed paper. And for the longest time it was kind of sticky. Now it's just kind of crunchy on those edges, so I don't know. You may be reactivating the sugar in the lemonade. I don't know. But it was in my cupboard for ages and ages, and then just decided to use it up trying to dye paper because I don't really have Kool-Aid. Kool-Aid's not something I do. I always, even as a little kid, I thought Kool-Aid was yucky. I think probably because they watered it down all the time. Like they were gonna, like the kids wouldn't notice, but we noticed. You know, just taking some of this gel that's trying to squeeze out of my bottle. Filling in on the dry spots. And now we're gonna scrunch and roll. Okay, let's see. Okay, I'm gonna wrap it up here real soon because my husband's gonna come home. But we'll try the graph paper and then we will be done, and then the final wrap up will be a review of how all these feel and look when they're dry. Which means I'm probably not gonna film that part for a while, for a couple days. Here we go. Oh, see, hole, a hole. Fiddlesticks. All right, well, it didn't really do anything to this. It softened it up, and at least it's not sticky. That's good. Well, at the end of the day, it's just paper, you know. I feel like it's still very dry in the center. One more time. One more time. So I don't know if it's getting the hole in it when I roll it up, or am I sticking my fingers in it? What's going on? Oh, that's dripping. Yeah, drip on the page I want you to drip on. Okay. Graph paper. Now, you know, when you try to coffee dye the graph paper, the blue ink on the page tends to run and make all kinds of interesting designs. So I don't know if it'll do that with the lotion too. What do you guys think? Quick, before I get too far, quick, tell me what you think will happen. It's hard to know. Ooh, it's very see-through. I could see how if you did oil on this, you could definitely turn it into like a vellum type of texture. Wow, ooh, made it very transparent. Interesting. Ooh, that looks really blue because of that. But see, I'm not getting the center. Uh-oh, no, that was already there. Those holes were there, but they look bigger now. Aloe vera gel, how about you? I'm using it to like fill in the gaps, the dry spots. Woohoo! Huh. Yeah, I don't think the ink is running really. Maybe just a little bit. It's hard to tell. But it's definitely more transparent. And the other ones didn't really do that. The other papers. All right, well, I'm gonna wrap it up here, and then later I'll come back, show you how everything dried. I know this is the third time I've told you that, but and then off camera I'm gonna finish that one, and I'll just use one of these thicker lotions. So that's our experiment for today. If you guys, I said off camera, but since I'm talking, I might as well keep going. If you guys liked this video, kindly give it a thumbs up, and you know, I'll know because you've watched to the end where I asked you to do this. Because lately only about 23% of the video gets watched. But am I that boring, or are you just skimming? Do you guys skim when you watch your videos? Just kind of skip through them? Sorry, and I really am shaking the camera, so hopefully image stabilization will take care of that. Yeah, give me a thumbs up and like and share, and double check that you are subscribed, because especially after I got a bunch of subscribers recently, sometimes YouTube has a habit of unsubscribing people because they think it's a fluke. So we don't want that to happen. And then hit the notification bell, ding, to hear you know, to be notified every time I upload or do something new. Everything I do is under scrutiny. This is really absorbing the lotion. It does not feel like the other one did. Interesting. Okay, all right, I'll be back in just a bit. All right, it has been 4 days and I am back to go over the results of these papers with you. I made notes on what I did with each paper and we're gonna view them in the order that I created them, and I'll just let you know how they feel. If you could feel it through the camera, it would be really interesting. All right, so this is the first paper. This is the green leaf. It's the scrapbook paper and it's from a paper studio pad, I believe, an older one. And this one I did with the sunscreen. So it still kind of feels papery, but it feels good. It just feels different. It feels very flexible and pliable. Now this one, of course, I got a couple of little tears in here and here, but it feels pretty good. And I would probably use this on tags. If I hadn't gotten a rip in it, I think it would have made a really nice page, you know? It does have an interesting feeling. Okay, so that's the one with sunscreen. I also made some notes about whether or not, which ones I really liked. So this one is the brown packing paper that comes, you know, in your Amazon packing or what have you. I also use sunscreen on this. Now you can kind of see some discoloration because it's not even, but I did like this one. I liked how it felt when I was making it, and I like how it feels now. It feels dry. Everything has been absorbed, but it feels tough, you know? So that one I would definitely use as a page. Here is the calendar page, and this one I used that shea butter lotion on, which it's all gone now and I tossed it. Now I wish I hadn't so I could remind you what I used, but you just saw it in the video. This hasn't been 4 days for you. It's been like a split second. Now, because it has kind of that coating on it, it's that thicker paper, it still feels like there's something on it. I don't know if that will continue to sink in or not, but because of the lotion with the oil in the lotion and the shiny paper, but it feels good. I did like this one when I made it, and I still like it. It just feels different. It does feel like there's something on it, but it does look pretty. So there's that one. Next was the Edith Holden book page, and I used the shea butter lotion on it. I did not mark it as one that I was super excited about, but now that I feel it, now that everything is sunk in, it feels like kind of like the old rag paper from the really old antique books. That one has a really nice texture to it, so I really like how that one feels. This is the cardstock. This came out of one of those color book, however you pronounce it. It's the color book with an umlaut over the O. And it's the cardstock. This one and this purple one as well. So this one I used the Dove lotion, hand lotion, and some of the sunscreen on it. And again, now that the sunscreen has sunk in, it has changed the feeling and the texture of it. And I like it. This one, did I rip this one on accident at all? Is this one completely perfect? Good. That one was good. Here's the music paper, and this is the one I used the Mrs. Meyer's hand lotion on, and it felt really wet when I made it, but actually now it feels really good. It's all sunk in, it's very dry. Unfortunately, I ripped it. If I could figure out what I was doing to make it rip, I would hope that I could stop doing whatever that was and prevent that. But this does feel good, and if I hadn't ripped it, it would have been perfect to stick in a journal the way it is. I mean, I could just cover that with some tape or something. But anyway, here is a piece of thin scrapbook paper, and this is also, I believe, was from a paper studio pad. So that one and the green one are by Paper Studio, and so is this one, but this one I think was a little bit thinner. So as far as texture on the two of these, this one I used sunscreen and a tiny bit of the Mrs. Meyer's. Again, this one I used the sunscreen on it, and I kind of feel the same. I did get a hole in this one as well. but they do feel a little bit like a cloth paper mixture. Now this one was my surprise, the wallpaper, and I really liked it as I was working on it. I used the Mrs. Meyer's hand lotion. I thought it might stick to itself with the moisture in the lotion, but it didn't do that at all. And now it doesn't even feel gluey back here. It just kind of neutralized the glue or whatever on the wallpaper. And this feels really strong. This feels good. Yeah, it actually does feel stronger than when I started out. Here's the Henry Terry book page, and this one I used the aloe vera gel, so that was my unexpected surprise ingredient, and I really liked how it felt when I was working with it. And of course this is a much thicker paper, and I like how it feels now. And honestly, with the aloe vera gel, it doesn't feel much different than any of these, really. They all kind of feel the same. And Edith Holden, where I actually use lotion, because the book pages, this book page and this book page are very similar in texture and thickness when they're not, you know, before you start, when it's just the book page. This one feels softer. And this one is soft, not quite as soft as this. This, like, you could make a baby blanket out of this. That feels good. This is soft, not quite as soft, but it still feels good. So this was with the shea butter. This is with the aloe vera, but overall I do like how that one turned out. It feels, I like it. I like it, I like it. Now, not all of these pages are gonna go in my friend's journal, but you know, I wanted to experiment with different ones. This was the dictionary page, old dictionary, also with aloe vera gel, and it did not tear at all, and it still feels great. It's just an interesting texture. I would say so far, this one is my favorite. Okay, and then this is the thinner scrapbook paper, also a Paper Studio pad with the aloe vera gel, and I believe it did tear. Did it tear? I think I did. Yeah, I see little holes. There's one here and one here. The paper feels stronger now, but it also feels like it needs more. Like I could add more gel and go back and rework it, because feels like there's spots where it didn't quite get into the paper. They do all feel a little bit more tough though, since adding the whatever I was using to soften it and strengthen it. This was the pink lemonade dyed paper that I did, and when I was let's see, I used sunscreen on it, and then I added a little bit of aloe vera gel to it because it felt like the sunscreen was maybe too thick. And these edges here were where the lemonade had crystallized when I did the dyeing. After I added the lotion and stuff, it felt very soft and pliable, but now that it's dried, it feels stiff again. Not sticky at all though. And it feels stronger now than when I did it. It was pretty wet, and again, it ripped. I could make a really interesting back on a tag, and it looks almost translucent right here. So I really like the results so far from the aloe vera gel and the sunscreen. I think those two have been the best by far. This was the graph paper, and I used sunscreen on it. And like I said earlier, when you're coffee dyeing it or whatever, the blue ink will run. It didn't do that here as much, but it did absorb the oil in the sunscreen, and so it almost has, again, it has a translucent kind of an appearance, almost like it's on its way to becoming a vellum. I kind of like that though. It's got a really neat look to it. And then the last one is this marble paper, and it's very wrinkly. It's probably more wrinkly than this. And this one I used sunscreen on it, and then a tiny bit of the aloe vera gel. And again, I can tell I didn't quite get it to the corners because this feels very papery. This feels less papery. So I think that was an interesting experiment, and I do believe you could use sunscreen or aloe vera gel. And the upshot of everything, my hypothesis, I don't know if I was actually trying to prove it at the outset. I was just trying to figure out what felt the best and what worked the best. But my conclusion was thicker paper and a thicker lotion, because remembering at the beginning I showed you that one that just fell apart when I used a watery lotion. And so thicker papers, thicker lotions, and I think you'll have really good success. Or let me know, of course, if you've tried already, you've done this and maybe used hair conditioner, how did that work? And then my last suggestion would be if you have old skincare products that you didn't really like for your face, but you still have them hanging around, try them on your paper and see, because those are all meant for conditioning skin, and I think they'd probably work really well for conditioning paper. So that is the end of my experiment. This concludes my demonstration. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys will try it out if you haven't yet. Let me know what you think down in the comments. And remember to give me a thumbs up, like, and subscribe. Until next time, be inspired, do something creative today, and I'll talk to you in the next video. Bye-bye now.